to deal with the vetting process and ensure that they weed out the wrong officers, elements in the police. Actually, they need to change the entire mental or attitude of the police service, which has not changed. You see the way bribery on the roads has returned is a normal thing. If you talk to any tout or anybody who has had a traffic offense, they will tell you police are demanding bribes. So they haven't changed. And that's why I think I would agree with Norman that without the police reforms effective, and not just the police reforms, but institutional reforms in many places, we are going to have the same institutions we had in 2007 that are going to do the same. IEBC needed to be reformed effectively to deliver a trustable and transparent election. So far, what the stories you read from in the newspapers almost daily tells you that this is a compromised institution that is incapable of delivering what would be trusted as a transparent and credible election. And that was the problem that was pointed out by Kriegler and even in the Working Commission, that the trigger of the violence, among many other factors, was the lack of faith in the institution that was delivering the verdict.
All right. Senator.
I think it will be fair if we tell Kenyans this. One, let me just go back to the discussion of the violence. And we need to ask ourselves, and let us now look at the whole country, since we are reflecting. We go back, and may the Lord rest Beatrice Mwita in peace, because I know she had her shop in Migori. It was burned down. She was told, you are a courier. At that time, you supported PNU, so the Luos burned her shop down full. She went into depression. She passed on. Was that William Ruto who sent them to burn? God knows. We move on to Kisumu. Look at the Meru Mzee, who used to have a very big hotel where every Akamba used to come there, stop. It went down. The Mzee is gone. Was that William Ruto? And many other, the Okwala supermarkets that went down and everything. Was it William Ruto? We don't know. God knows. When we come now to the Rift Valley, the same. When we come to Nairobi, where today, even in Babandogo, we have people who still live in people's houses. They have never moved. Was it William Ruto? So what I'm saying is that when we say justice has to be done, as Kenyans, do we want to say we want to sacrifice two people, the deputy president now, William Ruto, and Sang, to say they are the ones who now send everyone along this country to ban? In Mombasa, I remember even the returning officer in Changamwe was killed in his own house after he announced the elections. Was he sent by William Ruto? Those are the things I'm saying. I will not sit and say I would want to see someone go to jail for the things we know, all of us in this country, how it happened.
Okay, in the interest of time, can we get to the solution? Because we're really
the solution is we should stop first of all and say, indeed, the two were not supposed to have a verdict for Kenya. For us to say now the victims are going to get justice. It will be a lie to us and to the victims. Number two, we should stop this thinking that because at that time he was in ODM, he was good. Because I remember if it is tampering with the witnesses, then it started with the late Mutula and Orengo early in October when they went and really pleaded to Ocampo to first hold on the cases. Was that not tampering, political tampering? We started long way ago tampering with that case. And that's why I was saying, if you want to look at chronologically how we handled this case, we did it wrongly as politicians. Okay. But lastly, when Norman talks about Mombasa, you know, I was in Malindi, and I'm wondering, how come they have never brought us the clips of this police? The clips I brought to every media house was goons who were not in police uniform, but were flashing guns, were flashing everything, beating women, threatening women, intimidating everyone. And then I asked myself, where was the police at that time that they normally say they were threatening? The chiefs were being beaten by goons who were not police officers. So if we want to clearly help our country, as both the political side, we must come out clearly. When we have an issue, let us say, if it is IEBC, I've always said, change the whole policy of IEBC. Stop telling us about commissioners, whom they were both from the Grand Coalition and agreed at that time If you ask CORD at that time, ODM, they will tell you the chairman was their person at that time. So now that he has done this, he becomes now a wrong. It means even the next commissioners who will come in, whatever they will do, as long as they are Kenyans, we will blame them
never
politically.
be good enough.
But
All right,
if you want to help IEBC, is to come up with a policy and say, if I'm a clerk who is supposed to see an election in, for example, Dagoretti North, then I have to be taken the day of the election. Let me go to Embakasi and manage the elections there. And another one, you will see, we will have new people even coming to parliament because you'll be unable to tamper with the PO in the morning who you even don't know. And those are the ones who rig the elections in this country, not even those commissioners.
All right, let me come to Norman Magai, and I need you to be very brief because we are out of time in terms of your solutions. You wanted to respond to something Senator had said.
Yes, there are two issues. One, she talks about Malindi. She says she has evidence of anything, but
Yes,
she
I
has
have,
not taken,
and I sent
she has
it
not
to
taken
media
action.
houses.
She has not taken action. On
I
our
did.
part, on our part, we filed a case in court. All this evidence, we have put it on the record. It's in court petition number 6 at the Malindi law courts. So it's an ongoing court process, which I don't want to delve into. But most importantly, if you look at the institutions that guarantee a peaceful Kenya, one of the critical institutions is the judiciary. The Chief Justice himself has come out and declared how corrupt the institution is. And I can assure you, at the presidential election level, I don't think there is anyone who will be interested in approaching that institution, especially if you see the mechanization changing the law on appointment of the Chief Justice, on appointment of the Deputy Chief Justice, and go into the entire appointment process of the Supreme Court. I mean, you will have a court that is so short, that is out of depth in terms of integrity, in terms of impartiality. So, one, the judiciary must be fixed well in advance of the elections. We need to take action, serious action on the question of the police. Two, the politics of exclusion have dominated the past few years since the promulgation of the new constitution, and there is a high sense of discontent in many parts of the country. They don't feel that they are being given a fair opportunity to partake the national cake. And those politics of exclusion, again, were some of the critical issues that were at the center of the 2007-2008 post-election violence. So actually heading into 2017, there is a lot to worry about in terms of the state of the country, in terms of the social moral fabric of the country, and how it can be able to, the center can hold when it matters, when there is a hotly contested presidential election. So we must be able to deal with these issues in a very, very honest way ahead of the election. And lastly, the question we are talking about now about victims, we are not looking at two people. We are not looking at Ruto and Sang. All we are saying is crimes were committed. There were police officers recorded molesting, shooting people carelessly in Kisumu and Kibera. No action has been taken against them. These are the issues that we must be able to confront. At least there must be seen to be action taken against the perpetrators to appease the souls of the victims and those who died in this post-election violence. Okay. Without putting a closure to that door, I can assure you the ghosts of the 2007-2008 will hound this country for a long time.
Okay, in 10 seconds, Dismas, solution.
For me, the solution, I think, is for the political class to respect the constitution. The reason why politicians must steal an election is because they want to access economic opportunities. And they've created this funny thinking that unless you're holding political office, you have no access to political opportunities as well as economic opportunities. And you know that one has been reflected in the appointments in government. That are, say, if you come from a particular ethnic group, the people who are given a priority in terms of tenders as well as appointments to state jobs are people from your community. So for Kenyans, they've been driven, especially the poor voter who has no idea of what's going on, they've been driven to believe that unless a member of your community is a head of state or is the deputy president, you have no access to opportunities. That means that if, for instance, the current leadership would ensure that appointments are free and fair.
Sorry, I'll have to cut you short. I'm told that we're really out of time and we are overrunning, and it looks like it's a discussion that maybe needs almost half a day for us to actually get to the solutions.
But Kitonga, in one second, the issue of the police at the university, I think we should be very fair to the police. And there's no way in this new age, the police went and raped the students. It will be wrong, and I would want the police themselves,
And
now that we have Norman who also has the clip properly, can they take this case to court?
Yes, and
so
it
that
needs to
we
be dealt
see?
with in a
Absolutely,
legal manner.
in a
All right.
legal manner.
Okay,
Because it will be
I
wrong
think
to
we'll
say the
have, we'll have
police.
to wind it up right there.
But
Thank
at the
you very
same
much.
time,
Thank you very
Babu
much.
should
We-
now evict and get out of this
We
university.
need
It is
to
wrong.
wind up right there. Thank you very much. I'll be reading some of your comments that are still coming through as we go along with Morning Express. It's not yet over until it's over. It's now 8 o'clock. We're going to be having news updates coming up, and then I'll let you know how we move on from there.